Oh, he's putting the whiteboard back up. He loves it. We're going to do a great one today. Today we're going to talk about index fund investing and how you can rent those investments in your IRA. All right, so here's the deal. A lot of people like to invest in index funds. It's a great way to just participate in the markets on the way up, but still be diversified enough to kind of weather a downturn if there is ever going to be a downturn again. But it's a very popular method of investing. So if you look through your retirement accounts right now, chances are you're invested in 1 or 5 to 10 indices. And today we're going to talk about how you can take those products, rent them out while you hold them, and collect that extra income just as you would if you had real estate. All right, so to keep this simple today, we're going to use just a sort of a mock IRA. We're going to assume that you have $100,000 in that IRA. And this is, of course, just for example. This is not a specific recommendation. I think you know the drill by now. So let's say you got an IRA and you've decided, or you notice that you have a lot of index funds inside of that. Now, what is that? We're talking about funds that are focused on particular indices. When you watch the news at night and they say the S&P was up 3, the Dow Jones was up 35, and the NASDAQ was up, 16 or whatever, that's what they're talking about. So you could participate in the S&P, the Dow, the NASDAQ, the Russell 2000, however you like, and those products that you typically have are called index funds. So what we're going to do today is say you got $100,000 and we're going to say you have 5 investments. Just going to make it really easy for me. And although you wouldn't do it like this, we're going to pretend that you take that $100,000 and you divide it evenly over the 5 investments. Okay? So investment number 1, or index fund number 1, is going to be something like a total market, right? Where you're focused in on all of the products, the S&P, the NASDAQ, everything as a whole. So we're going to say that this is a total market. And since we're going to go evenly spread over it, we're going to say you have $20,000 in the total market index fund. Okay? Now, in the total market index fund, the products that we use in here, what we can do as of right now, I'm going to get my laptop, pull this up, and I'm going to see exactly in real time how much $20,000 gets you in rental income. So right now, if we just had this one product, $20,000 invested in it, we are looking at $300, right? So right now we've got $300 that we can collect in rent. Now that's not going to be like that every month, but it's just right now. If we were to say, let's go buy this portfolio and rent it out immediately, we could bring in $300. All right, another investment that's index fund related that people like to look at is emerging markets. So emerging markets, this is where we're going to invest in emerging markets, right? It's an index fund that's created to kind of keep some of your risk away from the United States and go globally. Just in case the United States has a little hiccup or it's kind of underperforming, maybe somewhere else is doing well, and this is a way you can participate in it. So if we look at the emerging markets index, right, if we put in 20,000 here, currently we are looking at, where is it? Right now, $400, just a touch over $400 for every 20,000 you have invested in this emerging markets ETF, okay? So another great example there. Some other ones that people like are the small cap stocks. This would be focused, there you go, on the little guys. Not little, but little compared to Apple. So same thing, if we put in 20,000 here, we know that, we wouldn't necessarily do it exactly even like this, but for every 20,000 invested in the small cap stocks, loading, come on, load, we've got almost $300. So I'm going to round that to 300. Okay? Okay, so we're building a little portfolio here. Now, the value of these ETFs, or these, index funds, the value of these index funds are going to fluctuate over time. But this rental income, that's what we're talking about in these previous videos where we say, while you're holding a portfolio, while you're holding your IRA, there's extra money to be made there without taking any additional risk. In fact, it reduces your risk overall. Okay, so we did total market, we did emerging markets, We did small cap stocks. Let's go with the big guys. Let's go large cap. And I will work on that handwriting. That's got to get better. Because you probably can't read whatever that says. I don't know what that is. Okay, large cap stocks. If we look at that index fund, currently it's $320, let's just say $300 for every $20,000 that's invested in the large cap space right now. So remember, the idea is we're making money off of our investments. In the long run, we want to participate in these appreciating in value, but we want to collect that rent while we're waiting. If you're watching this video now, you've seen the markets, they're a little bit shaky right now. So right now, this portfolio would be wiggling around a little bit, but this rent is constant, right? Every month, we're hoping to get something along these lines and just keep that process going over and over again, just like you would in real estate. Actually, I only have 4. So let's just add, spur of the moment here, we're going to add bonds, some long-term bonds. Okay? Pretty much every portfolio that I see that comes from somewhere else has some kind of bonds. It's the way that financial advisors are taught. Any wealth manager is taught, you got to have some bonds in there. And while I kind of disagree at times, we're going to use that for example today because I thought I had 5 and I only had 4. So for every $20,000 that you invest in bonds, you are currently looking at, and this is not, yeah, $200, so that's okay. Not very exciting in bonds. You don't get a lot of rental income. It's just not that active of a space right now. So here we go. So we're looking at these 5 products here, this investment that we've built out of $100,000. We took it $20,000 at a time. We went over 5 investments there to kind of make sure we're 100% invested. And currently, in real time, although it's really sloppy, these are the amounts that you can get in rental income. So when we total them all up, for this month, if we were to build this right now, you're looking at $1,500 in extra income that you weren't going to get if you just built this balanced portfolio and let it sit. Now, there's a chance that these could have appreciated in value enough and the portfolio could have made this amount of money, but remember, you still get to participate in that. The only downside to doing this is if one of these has a sudden, sharp move higher. That's where we don't get to participate as much. But just the rental income, only what we've been talking about in all these videos that we've made, gets you 1.5%. Okay? Again, this is just an example. There's no guarantees. I get in a lot of trouble if I start promising this to people. But this is real time. This is right now. If I just built that for you, that's what you would have in your portfolio, along with anything that may happen to these. These could all lose value, by the way. There could be periods of time, just like in home prices, right? Where you have these houses, and I know I've done this in previous videos. If you pretend that these are homes for a minute, these could all suffer a downturn. And that's okay, right? We don't expect our investments to go up every single day for the rest of our lives, right? Sometimes they're going to lose value. Here's the thing though, if we have tenants renting out each one of these, then we know we're going to get the rental income. Unless something happens and nobody wants to rent these investments from us anymore, which would essentially probably spell the end of the market if that's what happened, then we're fine. We can collect that rental income. Look, if you want someone to help you out with this, I'm going to put the website right down here, jazzwealth.com. That's what we do. There's plenty of extra videos on this that really go into detail. I mean, we went into detail today, but there's a lot more detailed videos on our YouTube channel and soon to be on our homepage, so keep checking jazzwealth.com. If you do me a favor, hit the subscribe button on YouTube, hit the thumbs up, hit that big wow face on Facebook if this is where you're watching it. I love getting feedback from you guys. If you love it, let me know. If you hate it, let me know too, and we'll talk soon.